Hi, let's jump in and talk about soybeans. That's another interesting one. Again, I was out at some farms over the weekend. Not necessarily kind of going through the fields looking at pods, but just to get a feel for what the farmers are thinking and seeing out there, and it's been very, very interesting. And then again, last night we had a decent move. We hit an 8 month high last night. Um, Things can be thin. I think it's a little dangerous jumping in at night to try to correct yourself. It's good to have it there in case you do need to get out, but the volumes are pretty rough, and they can be kind of punishing. And you did see things kind of back off a little bit, but there was definitely some short covering going on last night. That was absolutely the case. We've seen no beans in the last month. I think we've rallied close to 80 cents, rallied 80 cents. That's just after testing that 200-day moving average, right? So we tested that 200-day moving average down around $9. And I think that 80-cent rally, if you are a technician, right? I'm a fundamentalist, but if you're a technician, what's your risk going to be? You're going to have a lot of technical analysts looking at a 50% retracement. That would be the number. 40 cents off of that 80-cent rally is where they're going to see some action, right? That's what the technician is going to be looking for. So keep an eye on that, because that's where we're going to see volumes pick up. You're going to see some orders kind of pick up there, and that's going to be a level that the technicians are going to be looking at. But again, in a month, 80 cents is fantastic, and it's actually drawn some eyes back to the product, and we've gotten a help obviously from a weaker dollar. So I want to also say that, watching the action and the trade action, the volatility, it's kind of creeping back in here a little bit, and it just seems to be with the weather that we've had. I'm just not hearing, and this is all anecdotal, right? It's not 100% scientific, but we've definitely taken the yield off the tops of both corn and beans, and now we're talking about, anecdotal. What are you hearing out there in the fields? What are you hearing from your friends and neighbors? I think that that's kind of eking into the market, right? Even when we've got other things around us trading down pretty hard today. And we have to keep that in mind, because we need to know how the money moves are taking place. But I also think it's pretty important to see that how well this is held up. Again, look at corn holding up against, I know I'm talking about beans here, but watch, I'm just trying to give you an idea about things trading around you. We've seen crude oil sell off hard today, and corn hasn't, right? So that really tells me with this corn and bean story, and beans is what we're talking about now, there are some legs to this anecdotal evidence that maybe we're not going to see the yields that we might have thought. So I think that that's going to be something we're going to obviously be looking very closely at coming up to September 11th, the end of this week. Those are the types of things that we're going to really have to keep an eye on. So a great move over the last month, been fantastic. We'll see if we get something from the USDA on Friday that we can kind of support things. But then ultimately, it's been good to see these products kind of hold up in the face of a lot of other things around them kind of melting down. So good strength. Anecdotally, things aren't coming across the scales like guys thought, and we've already seen some good gains and a weaker dollar, all adding up to a stronger market for soybeans.